Well, good morning, Blue Troopers. Just a quick morning video, more of a podcast, I guess, actually, before I get started today. First day back from a trip, of course, we have to get the honeydews and everything done, so I don't know how much time I have for modeling today, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get to it. My big plan is to start getting that work area set up multiple projects at one time, but I still need to finish off some of the World War I airplanes I have underway and the Snark. But those have made pretty good progress. So for the most part, some paint detailing and everything is going to be and getting the landing gears on some of them, painting the props. They should be pretty close to being done. Don't know if I get it done today, but there was something that I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I'm sure that comes as no shock. And there was a series, and if I can find the link, I'll try to remember. I'll stick it in below. I think this guy called something like Ed's Automobiles or something like that. And he's, as an American, he's a foreigner. I don't know what country he's from. He has a hint of what sounds like some sort of European accent, but he's a really funny guy, and he loves cars and does videos on them. And he did one on the 3-part series called the Malaise Era of American cars. And of course, this is when I grew up. This was my jam as a teenager, the 70s and 80s. You know, he talks about how the 60s was the muscle car era, and then of course the 70s was the Malaise era, partly because of the all of the safety standards and emission controls that came in. And I thought about when I was watching the cars, I was going, you know, there aren't very many, if any, models made of some of these cars, and I kind of understood why, because let's face it, the 70s wasn't the greatest decade for American cars, either in styling or in certainly not performance. And I didn't realize that some of those big block engines with all the detuning and emissions gear were putting out as little as 145 horsepower, which is ridiculous out of an engine that's, you know, capable of what, 400, 450 horses, probably more under certain circumstances. And you know how they're trying to cling on to that, you know, win on Sunday, sell on Monday kind of vibe. And he talks about the bucktooth 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, how they messed up the lines of so many cars. And I started thinking, since with me, I kind of see the world through models in a lot of ways. I started thinking, you know, you don't see a lot of kits of a lot of these cars. They weren't terribly popular. Some of them were downright butt ugly. And he also got into the styling. You know, you've heard me talk about people like many car guys know, like Harley Earl and Virgil Exner. And I had forgotten that Exner, although he had some incredible styling ideas, you know, in the late 50s and everything, he actually got fired in '61 because of his sort of outmoded thinking, I guess you could say. And I'd forgotten about that. You know, some of these guys come up with the styles we see on these cars are just fantastic, and others, which one is it? Oh my gosh, is the Plymouth Valiant from like 1971? Got to be one of the ugliest cars ever made. I'll see if I can find a picture and put it here. And that got me thinking sort of a question of the day. And this is kind of one way or the other. What do you think? Now we're talking about production cars here. What do you think is the ugliest production car of, let's say the post-World War II era, you know? And I imagine a lot of people, some people are already typing in something like Edsel or the ugliest kit model car you've ever seen, or you know, let's sort of maybe twist that around. What's a car that's so ugly that if someone gave you a model of it, you would just regift it or not build it, you know, or you'd never buy it, that kind of thing. I guess what we're talking about is an ugly car contest. And I just thought that was an interesting thing to consider. Because as model builders, we tend to be orientated to what's cool or good looking. And some of the cars that were made, I still remember, even in the 70s as a kid in junior high and high school, I saw one of those Superbirds sit on the lot, the green one, for over a year. And I thought it was a joke with that tall spoiler and that long pointy nose. No one's ever going to buy that thing. And of course now, you ready for this? $3,500 for it. I think that thing sat there my entire school year. Yeah, well, of course I was a teenager. It's not like I had the money to buy it, but of course you look back in time and go, God, those are $1 million cars now. Anyway, I just thought that was a cool thing. And so, what's your winner for post-war ugliest American car. And guys, I guess I better go get to work and start getting some styrene glued together. Those models aren't going to build themselves. Hope you guys have a great day, and as always, model on.